This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
The government's specially appointed task force on Ebola making significant strides as it begins executing a comprehensive action plan to ensure the Bahamas is ready should the deadly virus present in this country.
And today, the government appointed Under Secretary Peter DeVoe Isaacs to be the administrative coordinator for the Ebola task force, and retired Chief Medical Officer Dr. Merceline Del Regis will serve as principal medical coordinator. Clint Watson was at the office of the Prime Minister today when the nation's leader unveiled to members of the media key components of the national plan to fight this national security risk.
We have taken all reasonable steps that we can to protect our country.
And it's based on this assurance that Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie, is confident the Bahamas is ready should the Ebola virus make it to our shores. Protecting the country, many seas and airports is paramount.
We have in Grand Bahama a number of challenges posed by the industrial context to that economy. We have Borco and Statoil and the shipyard, all connected to international shipping, and the container port, all connected to international shipping. And when it comes to oil, international shipping that comes from Nigeria, for example.
We realize that the oil industry in Grand Bahama is a potential area for ships coming from the west coast of Africa into our region. And because of that, we have now put in place through the Public Hospitals Authority and the Department of Public Health the necessary protocols to ensure that individuals on board these ships meet the right criteria before landing in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Although challenged by the many private yachts and charters that enter the Bahamas, the Prime Minister admitted his administration will implement the necessary protocols for visitors to also be screened at entry. Calling it the right team, Mr. Christie says a national Ebola task force has walked through every possible scenario to establish a solution. Minister responsible for Grand Bahama, Dr. Michael Darville, also condemning rumors circulating of a cover-up to an alleged Ebola case on that island, the rumors on social media. He reiterated the protocols have been administered for the most vulnerable areas.
This particular team, as well as all our public health officers, are fully aware and fully informed, and our protocols are already in place on Grand Bahama in the vulnerable areas, particularly our port.
The country's main gateway, Lyndon Pilling International Airport, also has an established procedure in place. Nassau Airport Development Company CEO Bernice Walkane maintains all airlines will be following the U.S.-based Center for Disease Control guidelines for passengers and any perceived emergencies.
At LPIA, we've considered all of the potential scenarios. We've identified the appropriate spaces. We're continuing to collaborate with our partners. So I believe that the Prime Minister is hopefully satisfied that every effort has been made to consider.
National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage reaffirmed the full support of the police and defense forces as the issue is considered a national security threat. He says police will be on every island to provide surveillance and support of who enters on the ground, while the defense force similarly monitors the high seas.
We have had experiences with communicable diseases before. We have combated them in terms of our professional people, our people who are involved in these matters professionally. We've combated successfully all of them, and this is no exception.
Now, the government is expecting to receive additional advice from the World Health Organization within 24 hours. It will give them the latest information updated worldwide on the fight against Ebola. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
In other news, diplomats and the Consular Corps of the Bahamas meeting for the inaugural Diplomatic Week hosted by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Minister responsible, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, addressed Bahamian dignitaries during a special meeting this morning where he stressed that Bahamians should not only recognize the Foreign Service when they are stuck in another country, but see the service as an important part of national development. Here's Janae Noel Ferguson.
Bahamians don't think of the Foreign Service at all until they lose their passport or they're trying to cross a border
And that's something that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is hoping to change with its first diplomatic week. Minister of Foreign Affairs Fred Mitchell told attendees at the Heads of Missions meeting the service is about forging new ground and strengthening the presence of the Bahamas globally. In just 2 years, they've made significant strides and are looking to appoint a new honorary consul in Hong Kong and in Singapore.
To enhance consular services for Bahamians, particularly in the United States, and we opened the Consulate General in Washington. We've now appointed an honorary consul in Chicago. We are also exploring, actually awaiting State Department approval for honorary consuls in Houston, in Denver, and in Los Angeles.
He lamented that there is a grave misconception of the Foreign Service that includes traveling and entertainment. Mitchell stressed, while it may be expensive, it is necessary.
Your business is to interact with the international community because our job ultimately is to enable Bahamians traveling around the world, whether for tourism, business, or education, to have a seamless experience as they cross from one border to the next. So when they show that Bahamian passport, it is their ticket and passage to get into a country without a problem.
Meanwhile, he added that the transfer of Bahamian prisoners from other countries continues to be a vexing problem because of the long time it may take for prisoners to be sent back. He urged all parties involved to let calm heads prevail.
First, to not be abusive to people who are doing the work in foreign affairs. That's the first thing. And everybody from foreign affairs on the other side is to be respectful and understand the anxiousness which relatives have about this issue.
Minister Mitchell says the Foreign Service has helped to develop the country for the past 40 years, and this is something that he hopes he can build on. Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
The Bahamian Diplomatic Office in Ottawa, Canada on lockdown tonight as police there search for the gunman who fired off several shots inside Canada's Parliament building, which houses the Bahamas consular offices. Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell reported today that the Bahamian staff there is safe and have been told to remain indoors until the all clear is given. Now, the attack took place as High Commissioner His Excellency Dr. Kelsey Johnson was here at home attending that diplomats meeting.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.